Hello, everyone. Very impressive. Sorry, it's the first time I am on such a big scene. I notice that I am in the good colors. So I am Marié-Hélène. I am here to share my experience on putting on the market a new plastic, a disruptive bioplastic. So when I've been asked to do so, I wanted to talk about human resources, putting the product or marketing a product on a new market, scaling the technology and finance this. But my first challenge when we built this startup, this new Deeptech startup, industrial, was to do it all at the same time. So Lactips, who we are? Lactips is an anagram for plastic. We do unplastic. We do plastic that are not plastics. When we talk about our mission, on one side, you've got the problem with the plastic pollution. In fact, plastic pollution is more like a non-controlled end of life of all the plastic we consume. On the other hand, there is the plastic industry, and the plastic industry, they cannot switch their machines. So to cope with both problems, with those two problems, our mission in Lactips is to help plastic industry to switch to sustainable plastic as a raw material without modifying their investment, their machines, and that should be in line with the new regulations. That's our mission. So we do it by creating this unique plastic without plastic. So as you see, the raw material we use is not petrol source, but natural source. It's a protein. We do it with our own science and technology. That's why it's a Deeptech. It's a natural polymer as a raw material for plastic industry. Means that we industrialize it through plastic industry. So it has been processed with our partner through the value chain to different type of processes like the blonde film extrusion, injection molding, the paper coating, etc. So that to put on the market application. And the difference with the other plastic is the end of life is under control with our material. So it's a material that is water soluble, it's biodegradable, it's biosourced, and it helps multi-layers of packaging to be recyclable. Talking about the human resources and building a team and scaling up an organization. So I'm talking about this. This is a picture of my team. Sometimes I'm going to put key figures for you. So it's about scaling up from 1.2% to 60% in one company in 7 years. So that's what we are talking about. And we were wondering how to do it. Thing is that I decided to hire high-skilled people because I didn't want to be alone in doing it. So I hired a group of people, 4 people, high-skilled entrepreneurs. So values were really important in this company. So I hired this group of 4 people that were high-skilled entrepreneurs that are focused on performance, and we all have the same core value that is the eco-citizenship. Very important. So I chose the right side of the organigram than the left side. No trainees in Lactips in the first years. And so as to not to have to have a decision making that would be processed, from the beginning I decided to have an executive committee and a steering committee to process the decision on the project management. Another challenge was the need of the different organizations inside the company, because when you do R&D, it's not, you need to be agile, you need to be open, innovative, and it cannot be the same structure than when you do industrialization and production, when you need to be super processed. And to cope with that, what we did is to put in place a project management process, really light, but focused on risk assessment on the project, and that is adapted to the company organizations, because there are several organizations depending on the department you're working with. But next question was how to keep this cohesion of all those people going from 1.2 to 60 people. And we did it, of course, if the values are the foundation of the cohesion, then there are three other things that we thought we need to have, is to share the same vision in the company, to share the mission that we need to do, and of course give perspective to these people that are working all together in this company. Or those three other would be the pillars of this cohesion. So we succeed in keeping this cohesion going from 1.2 to 60, and we know that the next stage of the company is how are we going to do it, going from 60 people to 1,000 people. So this is the new challenge that we need to cope with. The marketing of the innovation, this is the point where I'm not, I didn't want to be a scholar. But question was, how do we begin that? We don't have any products and we don't have anything. And it was really funny because even though the teachers say, you need to start with the job to be done, and you say, it's easy, but it's not easy. For instance, we were wrong. During the first years of the company, we thought that the job that we need to do was to keep plastic from the oceans, when the real job that we need to do was more like help industry, plastic industry to do so. And this changed everything because it changed the way you position the company, it changed the way you communicate outside the company, it changed the way you communicate inside and you keep your core values and your cohesion inside. So this is a very simple little word, but it's really important. So our job is to support the complete supply chain, the complete industrial value chain. And how we are going to do that. So that's really I want to share with you is, so we are a raw material at the complete end of the value chain. And then we need to work it with, for instance, here I took the example of the value chain of the coating on paper. So we need to work with guys that make the coating, and they need to work with the guys that make the flow packing. And this goes at the end with a brand owner, very simplified. And took a brand owner we are not working with, so we don't have the problem. And then you need to push it on this value chain. But if you only do the push, nobody knows your product. Nobody knows about you. Nobody knows this innovation. Then you need to pull it also through the value chain, taking brand owners as prescribers. But you need to qualify the product with all single one of the stakeholders that are in the value chain. And that is very, very difficult to do, and that's what we've been doing during those years. So that's another sharing that I want to make. And I want to talk about managing the technology risk and the uncertainty, because you are a deep tech. So the first part, when I met my co-founder, Frédéric, he's the inventor of this technology, we did a mapping, and we did all by the book. So we found one product application with one customer, and this is the minimum viable product. So all the books are talking about that, and that is really great. But something that is not in the book is that when you are deep tech, you have a major technological risk, and this risk is not on your side only, is on the value chain. When you are on the one side of the value chain, problem is putting it at the other side of the value chain, qualifying the product, and the scale-up. So to avoid that, we open up. we open up to a diversification of the technology in the value chain. Means that we didn't want to do R&D anymore, because this cost a lot of money, but we wanted to help other value chain to put it till the end, scaling up till the end of value chain. So if the first technology that we put till the end was the blown film extrusion, we diversified to coating, paper, injection molding, etc. So we lower the risk of technology, but of course, the trade-off is the cash consumption. So at one time, you need to close it down again, and we did it. And we did it by choosing the application with our criteria to lower the technological risk and concentrate the resources. And we do it according to our criteria, and notably, for instance, for us, one of the most important criteria is regulation. So that was a bit difficult to explain, but we can go on with the questions on this if you want. And the last thing is the scaling up of the technology. So I decided to take it on our point of view, our tech in our facilities, not on the value chain, because I already talked about that. And I'm not talking about real estate here, even though this is the plant, the new plant of Lactips that we perceived last week. So it's a very important step to us, even though real estate, really, it's a big problem for us, scaling up the real estate. But I'm not talking about that. I think as you see, if we are talking about the core technology, the investment, the productive investment that we do internally. So you've got the key figures. So no surprise, the capacity of production is directly linked to the investment you made, that we made. But if we look at this timeline, and we look at 2015, this is the first fundraising for us. In reality, it happened end of 2015. You can consider we have a first fundraising in 2016. And you see, 2017, beginning of the year, we decided to invest on the first and purchase the first industrial line of production. And that was the major move of this company at the end. That is my major feedback for you. It was really, really important to invest in this machine as soon as possible. Fortunately, we've got a board that follow the recommendations, and we could make this scale up internally and through the value chain with normal, current industrial machinery. This is really important for a Deeptech, and we had the chance that we can scale 3 million by 3 million. It's not like in other Deeptech where I think that the problem is that you need to invest 100 million to start with, but we had another chance. A surprise was we thought that we had learned enough to scale up the machinery, but that we were really wrong. That was a real process learning, how we scale the process, and at the same time you need to change the machinery. So that's why 2017 was a major decision for the company. I'm going to talk very little about finance, the Deeptech, because I think that you guys are better than me at financing the Deeptechs, and finance have funds here around. But one of the challenges is the financing of the company according to the needs. And I'm talking about the first round, when there is nothing, that the risk is maximum for the fund. And when you need to finance a Deeptech, it's a really challenging to finance according to the needs of the company and not what is proposed by the fund. So this is my last feedback, and something I recommend to everyone is really finance the company according to the needs, the real need of the company. So with that, I finished my presentation. I tried to be quick, not to bore you too much. Thank you very much, all of you.
minutes before we break for lunch. When you were talking about finding, sort of these 4 high-skilled people, you had a very big list of what they should all have. Tell me a little bit, how did you find those? Because you need those to really grow and scale up your company, but they start with this core team. Did you have a lot of time? Because, competition is also moving on these, talents.
Yeah, the first thing is I found the chief financial officer. And this person that I found was, I knew him from another company. I've seen him work, and I knew that he was really good also on the human resources. And his mission was to take resources, financial resources and human resources. So that's how I built a first one that helped me spread and hire other people that were skilled. And he has this entrepreneur feeling, and he wanted to be an entrepreneur with someone, not alone, with someone. So it was the first stone that helped me hire other people and hire skilled people.
Mm. And you mentioned that you basically changed your whole job that was supposed to be done. Did it take you long to realize that you're going from the wrong end in the beginning, or how did the process really happen?
It took us 3 to 4 years to realize that we were wrong, and that our real job, it seems like something very small, but it changed. For instance, the fact that when you talk to an industrial people, you are telling him, oh, you are not doing your job. You are not putting, we are doing your job. We are putting plastic from the ocean. When you say, I'm going to help you, it's a very different situation. But it took us a lot of time.
And did it also take time to convince the companies? Because, is the push already there from the customer to really say, we want different kind of resources in our products? So if our customers are buying the product, they already know that they have a sustainable product instead of buying a regular plastic product?
There have been a switch in the customers, a really big switch those last years, driven by the regulation changes and pressure from consumers. Consumer doesn't want to consume like yesterday. So this is repercutate on the customer behavior and the brand owners that are prescribing it through the value chain, but also the plastic industry that are desperate to find other resources to help them take this change, switch to something that they can use to be in the market tomorrow.
Mm. And are there any other obstacles, or are you ready to go and really say, we have already created our next step? What is your vision for the next 10 years, for example? Do you think in that time frame, or do you say, no, I'm happy if I know what I'm doing next year?
Yeah, we've got a long-term vision because we are a raw material supplier. Our position in the value chain is same as, humbly, but on the supply chain, we are on the same level as BASF, as Mitsubishi, that are part of our equity. But we are doing the same job. We are innovators in the plastics, in the raw material. So we need to have a long-term vision. So we have a long-term vision of being an internationalized, globalized company.
Mm. And COVID-19 really changed. If we think about disruptions, the supply chains were disrupted. How was it impacted your business, and were you able to cope in certain areas with this kind of, pandemic that nobody was really foreseeing? There are some things probably that you have as a strategy or in place, but not a pandemic. Yeah. Nobody thought about this.
On the micro point of view, of course, we had side effects. Everyone. For instance, we were working a lot with Japan because Japan's got a lot of regulation against plastics, and we have a lot of business there to do. Japan closed, so we had to postpone a lot of things, and nothing is easy when you are on a video, huh? So everyone knows that. Second, a lot of customers at the beginning of the pandemic, they thought that they needed to stop everything, so they stopped. But there was a second stage in the pandemic, was that the realization of the consumer willing to consume differently. And there is a big trend that reinforced the fact that they don't want the plastic to be in the ocean anymore. So that helped us. So a bad thing at the beginning, not so bad at the end.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Marié-Hélène, for having shared with us your story. A big applause for Marié-Hélène. Thank you so much.